So, you did the dumb thing and joined the infantry instead of commissioning as an Air Force officer. Don't worry, we've all been there, and maybe you're about to be. This video is meant to be a record of my own time undergoing one-station unit training for the US Army Infantry. Maybe you'll learn some takeaway wisdoms, or maybe I'm just rambling on about old times for your entertainment. Either way, let me tell you about the time I spent sucking for my funny blue cord, and how the Honor Hill grog gave me diarrhea. I can't speak for any of the other military branches, nor the other combat MOSs in the Army. I can only tell a bit about my summer experience in the armpit of humidity that is Fort Benning, Fort Moore, Georgia, and all the happy fun suck we had for the full 16 weeks. Why the f*** did they make it 22?
To hell with you all. But then, you're already there, aren't you?
Once landing in Atlanta, we got bussed over to Fort Moore, and lo and behold, in the dead of night, we were greeted by a drill sergeant waiting in front of a building. Was this the infamous shark attack I saw many videos about? No. It was worse. 30 AG. Seriously, that place. For the next 24 hours, you are forced to stay awake as you sit on benches, and as you sit in tables in a cafeteria, and stand in line for hours while you're forced to fill out paperwork. Absolutely important paperwork, mind you, and it has to be done in pen. Let's see how your sleep-deprived brain knows how to fill out number boxes correctly.
Get over here. Sign here. Sign here. Congrats, Pot. You just add 10 years to your contract.
Wait, processing itself is hazardous. Especially the injections and blood work being done on you by civilians who literally do not care. And by do not care, I mean I literally saw a guy faint from too much blood loss because the two ladies that were supposed to be watching him were too busy chatting with each other. Holy! You'll get sleep eventually, after you clean up the barracks bay you're staying in. Side note, about 23 laps around the bay equals a mile. And all the while you're here, you'll be shouted at by old grumpy drill sergeants who are about to be finished with their orders. So they're already on their way out. You're the last thing that's stopping them.
Get to moving, you f***ing weirdo. I hope you get herpes from the toilet.
Ha! Hope he dies.
The more bacon you eat, the less chances you become a terrorist. I'm retiring soon if I don't myself first.
And always, somebody's got to remember to call out at ease whenever any drill sergeants enter.
Sit down. I said sit down and everyone stands up. The f***?
After suffering through all that processing and signing off to buy your necessities. Yes, you are buying your necessities with the money the Army is paying you. You get to wait with all your issued gear in the big cafeteria room. And wait. And wait. And wait. Possibly up to 2 weeks. And if you're bored, you can go to the bathroom. Why are you all in the bathroom? Oh yeah, I'm so bored, let's go to the f***ing latrine to smell shit. By far, the worst experience throughout OSUT. I'm serious too. Someone couldn't take it and decided to make a run for it into the woods in the dead of night. After choking out his battle buddy who tried to stop him. He made it to a nearby suburbia and knocked on the door for shelter, but the lady there was the wife of a drill sergeant. We didn't get any sleep that night. Eventually, we got called out and rounded up to get on buses to finally go to our training battalion. Thank God. And finally, we got to have a shark attack.
Are you a movie star private artist?
No, Joe Sargent.
Are you trying to win an Oscar for best drama?
No, Joe Sargent. I'm told they don't do shark attack anymore. And I get it. Things can easily escalate into bad territory. But after going through 30th AG, I think all of us wanted the shark attack. Even with the shock tactics of angry men shouting and all the running and smoking we did until our muscles went numb, I think I speak for all of us when I say we were just happy that we were finally doing something to start us actually becoming infantry. Alpha 254 Sand Hill. We were a company full of dudes and drill sergeants. Looking back, God definitely gave us some divine intervention there, because we were given extremely competent drill sergeants. Extremely competent, and absolutely funny. Dear Diary, I f***ed up. Hashtag not my private. Shut your c***holsters.
Dear Dad, thank you for donating to a sperm bank.
I wanted to motor the f*** out of that place, but it was a school ground, so the army said no. I should have never reported for duty.
Privates, all real men need is Jack Daniels, fast woman, and electrolytes.
God wills it! F***ing goddamn. Privates, I'm gonna be in my office slaying some dragons on my PS4. Only come get me if your buddy's in trouble, dying, or dead. I don't give a f*** if you wet the bed. Hilarious. And extremely competent. My senior drill sergeant was a CrossFit gymnast instructor, and he taught us how to actually and properly stretch. Another was a former 18 Bravo, a goddamn Special Forces weapons sergeant. So if he told you something about weapons, you took his word like extra candies and the vegetarian MREs. Absolute. And if he offered you shooting lessons on the range, you shoot until each of your fingers is f***ing bleeding. Looking at you, Mr. West Point Cadet. Mr. I'ma just shoot 2 mags and call it a day. No offense to West Point Cadets, but some of y'all just make it too easy. We were doing machine gun lanes, and a West Point Cadet intern was helping on the range that day. Supply gave us a crap load of 240 ammo that day, and our drill sergeants just basically told us to go full send when we started. I go up with my assistant gunner, and the West Point Cadet tells me, "Short control burst." My ammo was gone in 7 seconds. I said short control burst, Private. What part of short control burst don't you understand, Private? I just rolled my eyes and let my assistant gunner shoot. Anyways, our drill sergeants were extremely competent. Most of them had CIBs or EIBs and applied their experiences to training. And those who didn't made damn well sure that we were listening. They actually taught us and made us learn. Now, I was by far not the best trainee. I personally ranked myself overall in the lower end of our platoon. But towards the end of OSUT, the 254 Battalion Commander told us that our company had scored the highest out of the other training companies on Sand Hill. Looking back, we definitely had some holy intervention. Or made a pact with the devil. A bunch of times during PT, we just had to lock it up because our drill sergeants were just so good at roasting us. Dear Diary, Drill Sergeant teabagged me during combatives. I enjoyed it. But we all knew that if we messed up, a good thing could immediately be taken away. There were plenty of smoke sessions, but I recall not being the cause of any of them. Came close one time though, when a drill sergeant curb stomped my helmet and face into the dirt mound because I didn't think my safety when doing covering fire maneuvers. But when we were having our weapons checked after, he ended up checking mine and realized I was the private he just curb stomped. No brass, no ammo, drill sergeant. No head damage either, Private. Negative, drill sergeant. I could see he was trying his best not to smile. And to top it off, nobody got smoked because of that.
No ass, no ammo, drill sergeant.
What? Fuck. If you ain't the one getting everyone smoked, the drill sergeants will find someone who will. Our company was a very peculiar one. 90% of us were slotted as 18 X-rays, and the other 10%, myself included, were National Guard 11 Bravos.
Special Forces? Ain't nothing special about you.
But the day and night is spent with your platoon. These are the guys, and gals in some cases, who you will hold accountable and will hold you accountable. I'm telling you, group punishments work that psychology. A small feud can easily escalate into a lock and sock party. And light out shenanigans got interesting. Like it or not, you're stuck with them for the time you're there. Some things are bound to brew from clustering a bunch of people together for a period of time. That's a given. How those problems decide to resolve themselves is up to those having beef, so as long as it doesn't hamper your platoon's effectiveness and performance. I personally believe in decency and compromise. But you gotta remember to take into account the human factor. Humans are selfish assholes. You have PT about every day-ish. Monday through Saturday, you're typically doing lanes, exercises, and drills. And Sundays are usually days off for religious services. Or, as our senior drill sergeant told us at the beginning when he was checking off our religious affiliations, you'll all be Jewish in 2 weeks. At the time, the staff at the local synagogue provided its attendees breakfast bagels and honey, and often allowed people just to nap through the service because they were happy to have attendees. Sufficient to say, after that discovery, about half the platoon started attending synagogue services on Sunday. Because you're with weapons all day and night, the prime hours for fireguard duty are early on or an hour before y'all get up. Anything else in between is, well, sucks. And for fuck's sake, wake up for your fireguard shift. If a drill sergeant walks in at 3 a.m., asks your at ease self to look at the fireguard watch list, and sees that the private who was supposed to replace you hasn't waken up yet to come relieve you from shift. Platoon! Alright! But generally speaking, we were given 7 rules to live by in the barracks. 1. No 2. No tugboating in the shower. 3. No shitting in your buddy's eye. 4. No fucking with the on-base dominoes. They'll pocket your money and report you to the drill sergeants. 5. No going AWOL. And if you do, leave your gear behind. Less paperwork. 6. No f***ing yourself. 7. No fight club. They only fell down the stairs. Chow time. Ooh, how I wished I learned about this sooner. If you're not scarfing down food so your body can process it later, you're working kitchen serving duty, which means you leave early and get ready to serve the company at the DFAC. Yeah, but I wake up at 4 a.m. to poop until 5 a.m. and then get ready for PT at 6 a.m. Why would I want to go early? Because if you don't have anything slaughtered for the rest of the day, you get extra time to eat after you served everyone. And you can eat whatever all the kitchen ladies set aside for you. Now, say thank you to the nice kitchen ladies. I swear, one of the most 180 flips I recall was towards the end of OSUT. I was in the group doing kitchen duty, and we entered the defect, and we found a non-infantry training company there. We could tell they were non-infantry because they had M16s, and they were fresh with their colored guidons and stuff. Our company was on its way, so they had to go, and they made me go, to their drill sergeant to break the news. Your company on its way? Watch, drill sergeant. I got you. Get the fuck up and throw away your food! Go, 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 go! Otherwise, we got reasonable rest periods to ourselves in the bay when we weren't training or getting smoked. Not much really to do with those rest periods, but it's something, you know? Oh, and you were allowed to get mail and packages too. Private, open this up and show us what you got. But sometimes you had to trade off those down periods to actually improve upon where you're lacking. I certainly did. But improvement is hard when you are at a literal disadvantage. Which brings me to my next point. I cannot stress this enough. Take care of your body. You need your body if you're going to make it through. And that means every single part of your body. Head, shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, hips, back, legs, ankles, toes, everything. I know joining the infantry is counterintuitive to all of this, but do everything you can to make sure you do not get injured. If you want to make it through, you need to take care of your body. If you don't want to make it through, well, there are procedures for that. But back then, you generally left faster by getting through to the end. 2 guys who tried leaving our platoon because of alleged mental health and suicide issues, they were still being held over when we left for graduation day. If an injury was bad enough to keep you from completing the required training, then you're likely to be recycled into another training platoon or battalion, which also keeps you at Fort Moore way longer. I cannot stress this point enough. Buy those nifty wrecking socks at the PX, if your drill sergeants let you. Lather Gold Bond wherever you need it. Get those wicking undershorts at the PX, if your drill sergeants let you. I'm telling you all this because I got injured. A rolled ankle is bad. An ankle that popped at a 90-degree angle is also bad. And considering that I only had 16 weeks between my spring and fall semesters, yeah, I was in the middle of college during this time. And I was enrolled in ROTC to become an Army officer. But, story for another time. I couldn't let this injury prevent me from missing the start of fall semester. Thankfully, I had been nailing a buddy of mine who had went through OSUT just that last year, and he told me everything to expect and what to look out for. And so, when I told him about my ankle, he told me this: cinch your bootlaces down as tight as you could and pushed through. My rucking and runtime suffered tremendously. That lower end of the platoon bit I mentioned earlier? Runtime and rucking. Oh, and shooting too, but that's because I was wearing those birth control glasses.
Yeah, that can't be that bad. How do glasses cause birth control?
Those damn things fog the hell up on the ranges because of the humidity. And being in prone with a helmet on pushes the glasses off your face. But hey, I didn't want to wear contacts and have them melt on my eyeballs in the tear gas chamber. I'll take birth control over eye damage. So, I pushed through, and recovered my ankle enough just to pass. But you know what would have been better? Not getting injured in the first place. Physically pushing yourself to get better? Sure, all for it. Intentionally pushing yourself physically to the point of an inhibiting injury? No. Arguably, sick call was a miserable experience. Not because of the medics, but the trainees. Imagine a person who is motivated to recover as quickly as feasibly possible while getting through OSUT, surrounded by trainees talking about their injuries and how happy they were to get their profiles extended. A small few even bragged about how they were cheesing the system. I kept my mouth shut, but it was very discouraging. Infantry OSUT wasn't all doom and gloom though. There are genuinely a number of nice times to be had. For example, the National Infantry Museum. The drill sergeants devised up a scavenger hunt of the displays to keep us busy when we visited the museum, but honestly, the group I was in gave up when we realized how slow we were going. We legit wanted to read everything because of how awesome the stuff was and how much it meant to us as soon-to-be infantrymen. It's an awesome museum, what can we say? We also did mounted exercises, nighttime exercises, exercises against the perimeter COB, and exercise missions of actually taking it over. Also, I recovered enough from my injury to actually pass OSUT and go on to graduation day and take the field. Yeah, it was humid and hot, and the gnats buzzed at the sweet flavor in your sweat. I still think the uniform anti-mosquito repellent just attracts the gnats to make up the airspace for the mosquitoes, but it was an experience. And the PX smoothie shakes were delicious. But before graduation, we got to march up to Honor Hill. Ironically, it was so close to us in distance, yet it took us 16 weeks to finally get to it. We lined ourselves up, went through the ceremony, and our drill sergeants congratulated each and every one of us. And we in turn finally got to say thank you and shake their hands.
Thank you, Drill Sergeant.
Arden,
Thank you, Drill Sergeant.
I didn't expect you to make it. We all drank that grog, and I have no idea what they put into it, but after we marched back, I immediately sprinted to the bathroom. Oh man, that was... ugh. Despite the diarrhea, the Honor Hill experience was epic. How the fuck? Yeah, we definitely were fortunate with our drill sergeants. They taught us well, and in turn, we listened to everything they told us. Oh, Dark Lord, we beseech you, please summon a fiery storm and make it rain fiery cock and balls.
Right, left, up, down, circle, you simple motherfucker!
That private's so concentrated, a fire ant could bite him in his urethra and he still wouldn't be phased. They called me black chocolate.
That's not racism, that's what he said.
Chuh! Sometimes we just got out and stood on top of our vehicles because we were bored and wished the we would.
But, for all the great training they gave us, one memory remains clear in my mind today. It was one morning during PT stretching, and our drill sergeant opened up the instruction for us to ask any questions we had. Any questions about the Army. Stretching out, I raised my hand. It was an honest question, and no ill will intended to the drill sergeants or anyone in the platoon. I would end up asking all throughout my service time.
Drill Sergeant, how do you deal with bad leadership?
Spłyną przeze mnie dni na przestrzał. Zgasną podłogi i powietrza. Na wszystko jeszcze raz popatrzę.
I don't know, Private Arden.
I pójdę, nie wiem.
I don't know.
A kiedy przyjdzie także po mnie zegarmistrz światła purpurowy, by mi zawełtać błękit w głowie, na przestrzał zgasną podłogi i powietrza. Na wszystko jeszcze raz popatrzę i pójdę nie wiem gdzie na zawsze.
I mean, I know I could have just told them about the tear gas and the IMT training during a thunderstorm or the 4th of July festival, or like even the picking grass with our hands, but like.
So, what was that about a toboggan?
So basically they would wear PT shorts and reflector belts as sashes with sunglasses and beanies on. Then they would gather in the middle of the bay and chant toboggan as they rubbed icy hot on their balls and took turns whipping each other with duct tape tip towels.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I didn't do it. Oh shit!